The tribe of Darren lived in harmony with their land. Their home stretched across wide forests filled with tall silver trees, rivers that glowed under the night sky, and valleys where the wind carried soft songs. Generations had lived here, far away from the noise of the stars. The people believed they were safe, hidden, and untouched. At the center of the tribe stood Rin, the chosen leader. Rin was not the strongest in the tribe, nor the loudest, but he was steady and calm. His words were clear, and his decisions often brought peace. The people respected him because he guided them with care, and he believed that trust among them was their greatest strength. Every season, the tribe gathered near the great fire in the clearing. There, they shared stories of their ancestors, who once traveled the stars but chose to stay on Darren. Those stories were both a warning and a comfort. The ancestors had known the dangers beyond their world, and they had chosen to live in quiet unity instead of chasing the endless skies. Rin always reminded his people that this choice was their gift. Yet in recent days, whispers had begun to rise. Some hunters claimed they had seen strange lights above the mountains at night. Others spoke of odd sounds echoing through the forest, unlike any animal they had known. At first, Rin told them not to fear. The forest was full of mysteries, and not every shadow was a threat. But whispers carried quickly, and fear began to grow. Mara, a young scout with sharp eyes and a restless spirit, often walked the borders of the tribe. She trusted the land and felt its changes deeply. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in soft gold, she returned with unease in her steps. She stood before Rin and the council elders, her voice steady but urgent. "I have seen the lights again," she said. "They were not of the forest. They moved with purpose. They were not fire, and they were not stars." The elders murmured among themselves. Some laughed quietly, saying Mara let her imagination guide her too far. Others frowned, remembering the old tales of ships that once flew above Darren before the ancestors turned away from them. Rin raised his hand for silence. "We must not let fear divide us," he said. "The forest gives us all we need. The sky may hold wonders or dangers, but it is not ours to chase. We remain safe because we remain together." His words calmed some, but not all. Mara lowered her gaze, feeling unheard yet unwilling to press further. She trusted Rin, but she also trusted what she had seen. Later that night, near the fires where families sat sharing food and songs, the whispers returned. Some asked if Rin was hiding something. Others wondered if the tribe should prepare for trouble. Taro, the oldest among them, spoke loudly enough for many to hear. "Our leader speaks of peace, but peace cannot blind us," Taro said. His wrinkled face was lit by the firelight, his voice heavy with age. "If there are lights in the sky, then they are not of this world. We should be watchful. We should be ready." The people listened, uncertain. For many, Rin had been a guide for all their lives. Yet Taro's words reminded them of the fear that lingered in the stories of the past. Rin, sitting nearby, felt the weight of every voice. He did not argue with Taro, for he respected the elder. But inside, doubt began to stir. Could it be true that dangers now crept close to their hidden home? That night, as the fire dimmed and the forest grew quiet, Rin walked alone through the village. He watched the stars above, glittering like countless eyes. He thought of the ancestors who had turned away from the stars and wondered if their choice had truly protected the tribe. Perhaps the stars had not forgotten them. Perhaps the shadows above were now returning. Mara sat on a fallen log near the edge of the clearing. She had not gone to sleep, her mind still caught on the lights she had seen. When Rin approached, she looked up and spoke softly. "You do not believe me, do you?" she asked. Rin paused. "I believe you saw something," he answered. "But belief is not enough. The tribe looks to me for calm, not for worry. If I give them fear, it will grow faster than truth." Mara frowned but nodded. She understood his meaning, though it did not ease her heart. And if the truth itself is fear, she asked. Rin looked toward the dark forest. Then we will face it as we always have. Together. For a moment, silence fell between them, broken only by the song of night birds. Yet both knew the silence was not peace. Something was changing in the air, something that could not be pushed aside with words. The next morning, the tribe went about their daily tasks, gathering fruit, weaving cloth, teaching children. But beneath the rhythm of their lives, the whispers did not stop. The storm of doubt had begun to form. Rin stood near the river, watching the water flow. He wished its clarity could show him the path ahead. But the river gave no answers. He thought of Mara's sharp eyes, of Taro's warning voice, of the fear in the people's hearts. Leadership was not a crown but a burden, and its weight pressed harder with each passing day. Far above the forest, hidden by clouds, a faint shimmer of light crossed the sky. None in the tribe saw it, but the world had seen. The storm was not only within their hearts. It was coming from the stars. The morning began like any other in the tribe of Darren. Children chased each other along the river, hunters prepared their bows, and gatherers filled baskets with fruit from the tall trees. Yet beneath the ordinary rhythm of life, unease remained. The whispers of lights in the sky had not faded. Some believed it was only fear carried by stories, but others felt certain that change was near. Mara, the scout, walked along the outer border of the forest. Her eyes studied the sky, always searching for signs. She did not expect the day to bring answers, but she trusted her instincts. The air was different, heavy with something she could not name. By midday, the calm of the tribe was broken. A thunderous roar echoed across the sky. The people looked upward, shielding their eyes from the bright flash that split the clouds. A burning shape fell toward the forest, trailing fire and smoke. The ground trembled as the object struck beyond the ridge, shaking the trees and startling every bird into flight. Gasps and cries filled the clearing. Some fell to their knees in fear, while others pointed to the smoke rising from the horizon. The elders looked to Rin, their leader, who stood silent, his face calm but his eyes alert. Mara's voice broke through the noise. "It is not of this world," she said firmly. "We must go to see what has fallen." The people turned to Rin, waiting for his decision. He raised his hand, steadying the tribe. "If the forest holds danger, we will face it together. But we will not rush in blindly." He paused, then added, "I will go with Mara and a small group. The rest of the tribe must remain here." A path was chosen, and by afternoon, Rin, Mara, and 3 other hunters moved through the forest toward the smoke. The air grew sharp with the scent of burned wood, and the trees bore black marks where heat had passed. Birds were silent here, and the forest felt heavy, as though holding its breath. When they reached the ridge, they saw it. A strange vessel lay broken among the roots of great trees. Its surface was smooth and silver, cracked and bent from the fall. Sparks flickered along its side, fading into silence. It was unlike anything the tribe had seen before, though their ancestors had once spoken of ships that crossed the stars. Cautiously, they approached. The vessel hissed as if it still breathed. A panel shifted with a soft sound, and from it emerged a figure. The stranger stumbled forward, falling to the ground. His clothing was torn and strange, with markings none could read. His face, however, was human. Mara hurried to his side. The stranger's breathing was heavy, but his eyes opened slowly. He looked at them with relief, as though he had traveled far to find this place. "You are humans," he whispered. His voice was weak, but his words were clear. I thought I had lost you." Rin knelt beside him, studying his face. "You know of us?" he asked carefully. The stranger nodded. "I am Kal," he said. "I come from beyond the stars. I come from the colonies of men." The group exchanged uncertain glances. The stories of their ancestors spoke of humans who once spread across the stars, but such tales had faded into legend. For one to stand before them now, speaking of distant colonies, was almost beyond belief. Mara's voice was firm. How can this be true? Our people left the stars long ago. We have lived hidden here since then. Kal coughed, gathering his strength. Yes. Many turned away from the stars, seeking peace. But not all. Others built new homes on far worlds. I come from those worlds. I came because danger follows. You are not hidden anymore. You are watched. His words sent a chill through the group. Rin helped Kal to his feet, steadying him. You must come with us. The tribe will hear your story. But know this, we are cautious people. Words of danger bring fear, and fear divides. You must speak carefully. Kal nodded, grateful for the support. Together, they carried him back through the forest. When they returned to the clearing, the tribe gathered quickly, eager to see what had fallen from the sky. Murmurs rose as they saw Kal, weak but standing with Rin's help. Children hid behind their parents, staring at his strange clothes. Elders leaned forward, searching his face for truth. Rin raised his hand. This is Kal, he said. He is human, like us, but from beyond the stars. He has traveled far, and he brings warning. Kal looked over the people, his eyes weary but kind. He spoke with care, his voice carrying enough strength to be heard by all. Your ancestors left the stars to find peace, he said. But peace cannot hide forever. Others among the stars know of your world. They watch from afar. Some may come not as friends, but as those who take. I came to warn you, to help you prepare. The clearing filled with whispers. Some faces showed wonder, others fear, and some suspicion. Taro, the elder, stepped forward, his voice sharp. You speak of watchers and dangers, but we see only you. Why should we trust your words? Kal met his gaze. Because I have seen what they can do. I would not have risked my life to come here if it were not true. The tribe was silent. Rin studied his people, seeing doubt flicker in their eyes. He knew the coming days would test them. Kal's arrival was no simple event. It was the beginning of something larger, something that could shape the future of the tribe. That night, as stars filled the sky, the people sat by the fire, speaking of what they had witnessed. Some believed Kal was a messenger, sent to guide them. Others thought him a deceiver, bringing fear to disturb their peace. Mara sat near the edge of the firelight, watching Kal as he rested. She felt his words carried weight, yet she also felt the tribe was not ready to hear them. Trust was fragile, and shadows of doubt had already begun to grow. Rin walked among his people, listening to their voices. He knew he must stand steady, for the tribe looked to him. Yet in his heart, questions stirred. If Kal spoke the truth, then the safety of Darren was already broken. The peace they had lived for generations was no longer certain. As the fire burned low, the tribe drifted into uneasy sleep. Above them, the stars shone bright, silent witnesses to the change that had begun. A stranger had arrived, and with him came the promise of both danger and hope. The storm that had once been whispers was now at their door. The days after Kal's arrival were restless for the tribe of Darren. The forest carried the same soft winds, the rivers still glowed under the stars, and the sun rose with gentle light each morning, but the people no longer felt the same peace. Everywhere, whispers followed Kal's name. Some gathered near the fire to speak of his warning. They believed he had come as a messenger from the distant stars, a man who had risked everything to bring them truth. Others distrusted him, saying his words were meant to spread fear and break their unity. For every voice of hope, there was a voice of doubt. Kal himself tried to live quietly among them. His body still carried the pain of his crash, and though the healers cared for him with herbs and rest, his strength returned slowly. Yet whenever he could, he shared stories of the human colonies among the stars. He spoke of cities that rose like mountains of glass, of fields that stretched across worlds, and of ships that carried people from one sun to another. To the children, his stories were wonders. To the elders, they were dangerous reminders of a path once left behind. Mara listened carefully to him. She felt the truth in his words, though at times she wondered if his truth could also bring harm. She walked with him near the river one evening, when the air was still and the water carried the glow of the setting sun. "Why did you risk so much to come here?" she asked. Kal looked at the sky, his eyes following the first stars that appeared. "Because I knew your tribe was hidden, and I feared you did not know you were being watched. The worlds beyond are not all kind. Some seek power, some seek control. If they discover your peace, they may try to take it. I wanted you to be ready." Mara's heart felt heavy. "Rin says fear will divide us. Do you believe he is wrong?" Kal shook his head slowly. "I do not say he is wrong. I only say the truth must be faced. Fear can divide, yes, but silence can also destroy." His words stayed with her. Back in the clearing, Taro, the elder, had gathered many of the tribe near the great fire. His voice carried strongly even in his age. "We must not be blinded," he said. "This man speaks of watchers in the stars, but what proof does he give us? None. He tells us only stories, stories that bring worry to our children and unrest to our homes. Our ancestors turned from the stars because they knew what danger lived there. Why should we listen now to one who brings those dangers back to us?" A murmur of agreement followed him. Some nodded, their faces hard with doubt. Mara stepped forward, her voice clear. "I have seen the lights myself. They were not of the forest and not of the stars as we know them. Kal did not place them there. They were real before he came." The people turned their eyes to her. Mara rarely spoke before the whole tribe, and her words carried weight. Yet even then, not all were convinced. One of the younger hunters, Joro, crossed his arms. "Even if the lights were real, how do we know they are danger? Perhaps they are only passing. Perhaps Kal brings fear because he wants us to follow him, not Rin." The clearing grew uneasy. For the first time, Rin himself rose to speak. His voice was steady, yet the firelight revealed the strain in his face. "Our tribe has lived in peace for generations," Rin said. "That peace is our greatest strength. We cannot let new voices pull us into division. Kal has brought us his truth, and for that we listen. But listening does not mean surrendering our way. We must walk with care. We must remain together." His words calmed some, but for others, they only deepened the question. If danger truly waited beyond the skies, was calm enough to protect them? That night, as families settled to rest, small groups continued to whisper in the dark. Some believed Kal, trusting his stories of distant stars. Others followed Taro's warning, saying the stranger had brought trouble with him. The seeds of doubt had been planted, and now they grew silently in the hearts of the tribe. Kal lay in the guest shelter, his eyes open to the roof above him. He could hear the quiet voices outside, some kind, some filled with distrust. He closed his eyes, wondering if he had made a mistake in coming. Yet deep in his heart, he knew leaving them in silence would have been worse. Meanwhile, Mara walked the borders of the forest as she often did. The night was still, yet she felt uneasy. She remembered the shimmer she had once seen above the mountains and looked again toward the sky. For a moment, she thought she saw a faint light moving, not like a star but like a presence watching. Her breath caught, and she wished she could call the whole tribe to see. But by the time she blinked, the light had gone. She returned to the clearing, her steps quick and thoughtful. She wanted to tell Rin, yet she feared what her words might stir. Still, She knew she could not keep silent for long. The next morning, as the sun rose bright and golden, the tribe gathered for their daily tasks. Yet the air between them had changed. Neighbors no longer spoke as freely. Small glances of suspicion passed between those who trusted Kal and those who doubted him. The bonds of unity that had carried them for so long now showed the first signs of weakness. Rin felt it as he watched his people. He knew trust was breaking, and once broken, it was not easily mended. He also knew he must make choices soon, choices that could hold the tribe together or let it drift apart. He carried that burden silently, for a leader's worries were not easily shared. Kal, standing nearby, watched the people as well. He could see the distance forming between them. He had hoped his warning would prepare them, but instead it seemed to divide them. He turned to Mara, who stood at his side. "They do not trust me," he said quietly. Mara answered with honesty. "Some do. Some do not. Trust does not grow in a single day. It takes time, and the tribe does not know if time is what they have." Kal nodded, though his heart felt heavy. The seeds of doubt had been planted, and like roots beneath the soil, they were spreading unseen. The tribe did not yet know how deep they would grow, nor what shape they would take. But already, the harmony of their lives had changed. The forest remained calm, the rivers still sang, and the stars still shone above, yet within the tribe, shadows had begun to rise. The days passed, and the tribe of Darren carried on with their tasks, but the harmony that once guided them had begun to fade. Whispers traveled faster than the wind. Some believed Kal's warning and urged the tribe to prepare. Others trusted Rin and said the old way of peace must not be abandoned. Even the children sensed the change, asking their parents questions they could not easily answer. Mara walked the borders each morning, her eyes searching the horizon. Her steps were restless, her heart heavy with doubt. Kal's words echoed in her mind, and though she wanted to trust Rin, she could not ignore what she had seen in the sky. One morning, as mist curled along the forest floor, she noticed something strange. Near the northern ridge, where the trees grew thicker, the ground felt different beneath her feet. The earth gave a hollow sound, unlike the solid soil of the forest. Curiosity led her to clear away vines and roots, and to her surprise, she uncovered a metallic surface buried deep in the ground. It was not natural stone or wood. It was something made. Her hands trembled as she brushed away more of the earth, revealing smooth panels marked with faint lines. The metal stretched farther than she could see. She realized it was not just an object but part of a larger structure hidden below. Mara stood back, her mind racing. Could this be a remnant of the ancestors? The stories had spoken of ships and machines they left behind, but no one in the tribe had ever seen them. She thought of Rin's calm words, his steady refusal to speak of the stars. A question rose in her heart, had he known of this all along? She returned quickly to the clearing and found Rin near the river. His face showed surprise when Mara told him of her discovery. For a moment, he said nothing. His silence spoke louder than words. "You knew," Mara said softly. Rin's shoulders sank. He looked toward the trees as though searching for answers there. "Yes," he admitted at last. "I knew. The machines of the ancestors are buried in many places. I have walked among them in secret. I chose not to reveal them, for I feared what they might awaken in us." Mara's heart was torn. She respected Rin, but his silence now felt like a shadow between them. "Why keep this from us? The tribe has a right to know." Rin's voice was heavy with sorrow. "Because knowledge is power, and power divides. Our peace has lasted because we turned away from the past. If I had spoken of these things, some would see them as protection, others as temptation. Fear would grow, and trust would break. I wanted to spare the tribe from that." Mara's eyes searched his. "And yet fear already grows. The tribe is dividing even without this knowledge. If the people learn you kept this from them, will they still follow you? Ren did not answer. His silence gave her the truth. Later that day, Mara told Kal what she had seen. His eyes widened with recognition as she described the buried structure. It is old technology, Kal said. Your ancestors did not only walk away from the stars, they hid the tools that could have carried them back. Perhaps they feared the same dangers I speak of. Mara looked at him carefully. Ren knew. He chose to hide it. Kal was quiet for a moment, then spoke with care. Ren may believe he protected you, but secrets can break trust. The tribe must decide its path together. To face the future, truth must stand in the open. That evening, as the fire burned in the clearing, Mara rose before the people. Her heart pounded, but she knew silence would no longer serve. I have seen what lies hidden in the earth, she said. The ancestors left more than stories. Their machines remain beneath our feet. Ren knew of this and chose not to tell us. Gasps rippled through the tribe. Faces turned to Ren, searching for his answer. He stood slowly, his eyes calm but filled with sadness. It is true, he said. I knew. I kept it hidden because I feared what it would bring. Our ancestors chose peace by turning away from the stars. I believed keeping the past buried would protect that peace. His honesty did not quiet the people. Instead, it stirred them. Some cried out in anger, saying they had been denied their right to know. Others spoke in defense of Ren, saying his choice was wise, for the past was dangerous and better left untouched. The clearing filled with heated voices. Taro, the elder, raised his staff, his voice sharp and strong. You see now what secrets bring. Our leader speaks of unity, yet he kept truth from us. Can such a path still guide us? Kal stepped forward, his voice firm but gentle. Secrets may divide, but truth can heal if it is faced together. You must decide not only what to do with the machines, but also how to stand as one people. The watchers in the stars will not wait for you to find peace. You must choose quickly, or the choice will be made for you. The tribe fell into uneasy silence. No answer came, only the sound of the fire and the rustle of the night wind. Later, when most had gone to their shelters, Mara sat by the dying fire. She watched the sparks fade and thought of the path ahead. Ren's silence had broken something, yet she still believed in his heart. Cal's warning carried truth, yet it also brought fear. Between the two, the tribe now stood at a crossroads. Ren walked quietly to the edge of the firelight. He looked at Mara, his face weary. Do you believe I have failed them? He asked. Mara's voice was soft. I believe you carried a heavy burden alone. But a leader cannot walk in silence forever. The tribe needs truth, even if truth brings fear. Ren nodded slowly, his eyes distant. Then the days ahead will test us all. Above them, the stars shone cold and clear, as though watching. Hidden in the earth below, the old machine slept, waiting. And within the tribe, the unveiled secret had planted a new seed, one that could grow into strength or break them apart. The revelation of the hidden machines shook the tribe like a sudden storm. What was once a quiet life of trust and harmony had turned into endless talk, argument, and doubt. The clearing, once filled with laughter, now echoed with raised voices. Families sat apart, choosing sides even at meals. Neighbors who once worked hand in hand now looked at each other with suspicion. Ren tried to calm the people, but his words no longer carried the same strength. Every time he spoke of peace, someone reminded him of his secret. Every time he asked for patience, someone asked why patience was needed if danger truly approached from the stars. The balance he had protected for so long was breaking. Kal stood among the tribe as both a stranger and a spark. Some followed him, believing his stories and warnings were truth. Others distrusted him, blaming him for the unrest that had entered their lives. He never shouted, but his presence alone was enough to divide the people further. Mara felt the weight of it all. She walked each day through the clearing, hearing the voices of her people, sensing how close they were to a split that could not be repaired. One afternoon, she found herself speaking with two young hunters, Laro and Joro, who stood at the edge of the river. "We should use the machines," Laro said firmly. "If danger comes, we cannot face it with only our bows and fires. The machines are power. They could protect us." Joro shook his head. "Power does not always protect. It can consume. Rin kept them hidden for a reason. If we turn to them now, we may destroy ourselves before any outsider even arrives." Their words echoed what the whole tribe now debated. Mara listened but did not answer, for her own heart was torn. She respected Rin's wisdom, yet she also believed Kal's warning. That evening, the tribe gathered near the great fire. It was a meeting that Rin himself had called, hoping to bring calm. The people stood in a wide circle, the flames casting long shadows across their faces. Rin raised his hand, his voice steady though his eyes revealed his weariness. "My people," he began, "I have made mistakes. I hid the truth of the machines because I feared what they could bring. I see now that silence has only brought division. But hear me when I say this, the greatest strength we have is not in hidden metal or old power. It is in each other. If we let fear rule us, then we will already be defeated." His words touched some, but many murmured with doubt. Kal stepped forward, his voice gentle but firm. "Unity is strength, yes, but unity without preparation is fragile. The stars do not wait for us. Watchers may already know you are here. If they come, you must be ready. The machines of your ancestors are not curses, they are tools. If used with wisdom, they can protect your peace." The clearing grew louder as voices clashed. Some called out that Kal was right, that the tribe must awaken the machines. Others shouted that the old way was safer, that trust in peace had carried them this far and must not be abandoned now. Taro lifted his staff, his voice cutting through the noise. "You see it now. We are divided. One path calls for trust in our leader, the other for trust in the stranger. If we walk both paths, we will break apart. We must choose." The fire crackled, the only sound in the sudden silence. Faces turned, eyes searching one another, hearts heavy with fear and hope. Mara felt her chest tighten. She knew what was at stake. Division could tear the tribe apart, even before any danger from the stars arrived. She looked at Rin, who stood strong yet alone, and at Kal, whose eyes carried both determination and sorrow. At last, voices began again. Small groups gathered, speaking quickly. By the time the fire burned lower, two clear sides had formed. One side stood with Rin, saying the machines must remain buried and that peace was their true shield. The other stood with Kal, saying the machines must be awakened before it was too late. The tribe was no longer one. The following days were heavy with distance. Families avoided each other. Friends who had once shared tasks now worked apart. Even the laughter of children seemed quieter, as though the very air carried the weight of division. Mara tried to speak with both sides, but she felt the gap widening. When she spoke with Rin, he reminded her that fear could not guide their path. When she spoke with Kal, he reminded her that waiting without action could bring ruin. Both held truths, yet those truths now stood against each other like stones in a river, forcing the water to split. One night, Mara climbed the ridge alone. She sat under the stars, staring at the endless sky. She thought of the ancestors who had chosen to stay, leaving the stars behind. Had they also faced such a choice? Had they argued as her people did now? She wondered if peace had ever been as simple as they believed, or if it had always been a fragile balance. As she sat in silence, she thought she saw a faint shimmer move across the sky. It was not a star and not a cloud. It moved with purpose, slow but steady. Her breath caught, and her heart raced. The watchers were real. She wanted to run back and tell the tribe, but she feared what the sight would bring. Would it unite them in truth, or would it drive them further apart? She stayed on the ridge until the shimmer faded. The night air felt colder as she made her way back to the clearing. The next morning, the tribe gathered again, though not in harmony. Two groups now stood apart, facing each other across the fire. One looked to Rin, their faces filled with faith in his calm strength. The other looked to Kal, their eyes bright with restless energy. The breaking point had come. The tribe was no longer bound as one people but split into two hearts. Both sides believed they carried truth, both believed they carried the path to survival. Yet the space between them felt wider than the river, and neither side knew how to cross it. Mara stood between them, her heart heavy. She loved her people, all of them, yet she feared what was coming. Above, the sky was bright and clear, but she knew shadows moved beyond it. The real test had not yet arrived, but already the tribe had changed. The breaking point had been reached. The question now was whether they could find their way back before the true storm arrived. The tribe of Darren had reached its sharpest divide. The clearing, once alive with shared laughter and songs, now held two groups standing apart. One side gathered around Rin, trusting his wisdom and his belief that peace itself was their greatest shield. The other stood with Kal, believing his words that danger would soon descend from the skies and that only the old machines could protect them. The tension was like a string pulled too tight. Even the children played less, sensing the silence and unease around them. The forest still sang with birds, and the river still glowed in the evenings, but the people no longer carried those songs in their hearts. It was during this fragile time that the sky changed. One afternoon, as the sun began its slow descent, a shadow appeared high above the mountains. At first, many thought it was only a cloud drifting, but soon it became clear that it moved with purpose. It grew larger, darker, and then its shape became visible against the golden light. A vessel, vast and silent, hovered in the sky. Gasps and cries filled the clearing. All eyes turned upward. The stories of Cal's warning were no longer just stories. The watchers were real. The vessel did not strike or send sound. It simply lingered, its dark shape casting a long shadow across the forest. It was as though it was watching, waiting. The sight alone sent fear through every heart. Ren stepped forward, raising his voice so all could hear. Do not let fear rule you. The vessel watches, but we are not powerless. Our unity is our shield. If we stand as one, we will not fall. Cal's voice followed, steady yet urgent. Unity is strength, yes, but look above. They know you are here. They do not come as friends. If we remain only with words, they will see us as weak. We must awaken the machines. We must show them we are not helpless. The people murmured loudly, fear and hope mixing like fire and wind. Some nodded toward Kal, their faces pale but determined. Others clung to Ren's words, desperate to hold on to the peace they had always known. Mara stood near the fire, her heart torn. She saw truth in both men's words. She remembered the shimmer she had seen on the ridge, proof that they were being watched long before this day. She also remembered the burden Ren carried, his love for the tribe and his fear of what old power could bring. The clearing grew louder, voices clashing. Some shouted to awaken the machines, others to remain in peace. The air itself seemed to tremble under the weight of their conflict. At last, Taro, the elder, raised his staff. His voice, though aged, still carried across the clearing. Enough, Taro said. The time for whispers has ended. The vessel above does not wait for our endless talk. We must choose, and we must choose together. Our path cannot be two paths. It must be one. Silence followed. The people turned their eyes toward Ren and Kal, waiting. Ren spoke first. I have led you with peace, and I will not abandon that path now. I say we do not touch the machines. We show the watchers that we are not a threat, that we live quietly, as we have for generations. Our strength is in our hearts, not in forgotten metal. Then Kal spoke. I honor your leader's heart, but I tell you this, the watchers will not leave because you are quiet. They see you as something to take or control. If you show no strength, they will decide your fate. If you awaken the machines, if you show them you are ready, they may think twice before bringing harm. The choice is yours. The people looked between them, their faces filled with fear and conflict. Mara stepped forward, her voice clear. We cannot remain divided. If we choose peace, we must all hold to it. If we choose strength, we must all share the burden. Whatever path we take, it must be together. For if we are divided, the watchers need do nothing. We will fall on our own. Her words settled in the silence. Slowly, voices rose again, but this time with less anger and more weight. Families spoke together. Friends looked at each other with questioning eyes. The fire cracked softly as the people struggled to decide. At last, Taro raised his staff again. Let us decide not with shouts, but with hearts. Each voice counts. Each life is equal. We choose as one tribe. So they did. The tribes spoke, one by one, some with trembling voices, some with firm conviction. The choice was not quick, and it was not easy. But when the last voice had been heard, the answer was clear. They would stand together. They would not bury the machines any longer. Nor would they use them in anger. They would awaken them as shields, not as swords. Their choice was unity with strength, peace with preparation. When the decision was spoken aloud, a strange calm settled over the clearing. The division had not vanished, but a bridge had been built. Both sides had given something, and both sides had gained something. Rin's eyes softened, though sorrow lingered. If this is our choice, then we walk it together. May we use the past not to break us, but to protect what we love. Kal bowed his head, relief in his eyes. This is the choice of humanity. Not to conquer, not to run, but to stand with courage and wisdom. Mara felt her heart lift, though she knew the road ahead was not simple. Above them, the vessel still hovered, silent and watching. The watchers had not moved, but the tribe had. They were no longer only people of peace, nor only seekers of strength. They had chosen both. That night, as the stars shone above, the people worked together for the first time since division had begun. They gathered near the hidden ridge, clearing earth and vines to uncover the old panels. The machines of the ancestors slowly emerged, silent and waiting. Their surfaces glimmered faintly in the starlight, as if they had been waiting for this moment. Children watched with wide eyes, whispering that the old power looked alive. Elders touched the panels with care, their faces filled with wonder and caution. Hunters stood guard, watching the vessel in the sky. For the first time in many days, the tribe moved as one. Their choice had been made, and though shadows still lingered, a spark of hope returned. They did not know what the watchers would do next, but they knew they would face it together. The choice of humanity had been spoken, and it echoed not only in their voices but in their hearts. Above, the silent vessel remained, as if considering the tribe's decision. Below, the old machine stirred faintly, as though ready to answer the call. The test was not yet over. It had only begun. The night the machines were uncovered marked a new beginning for the tribe. For generations, they had lived in quiet peace, never daring to touch the hidden power of their ancestors. Now the panels glowed faintly, their surfaces alive with soft light, as if answering the tribe's call. The vessel still hovered above the mountains, a silent reminder that their choice had meaning. Every glance upward filled the people with both fear and courage. The watchers were no longer a tale told in whispers. They were real, and they were watching. Ren stood at the edge of the clearing, his eyes on the machines. He had spent his life protecting the tribe by keeping these secrets buried. Now, as he saw his people working together, he felt both regret and hope. He knew the path was dangerous, but he also saw strength in their unity. Kal guided the tribe as they studied the machines. His hands moved with steady skill, for he had seen such devices before during his travels. He showed them how to awaken the panels without harm, how to connect the glowing symbols so the machines would stir. Many watched in awe as ancient voices hummed through the air, soft and strange, like echoes of another world. Mara worked beside them, her heart filled with wonder. She had always believed their tribe carried a spirit greater than fear, and now she saw it before her eyes. Children ran to fetch water for the workers. Elders whispered prayers as they touched the glowing lights. Hunters stood guard, their eyes sharp on the sky. For the first time since the division began, all hands moved in harmony. By dawn, the machines stirred fully. Soft lights spread across the ridge, weaving patterns in the ground like stars brought down to earth. A faint shield shimmered into the air above the clearing, visible only when touched by the morning sun. Gasps filled the tribe as they realized they were now under a veil of protection. The shield is only the beginning, Kal explained. It will keep you safe from small harm, but if the Watchers descend, you must be ready to stand together. The machines are not weapons alone. They are tools of warning, of defense, of survival. Ren's voice followed. We will not use them in anger. Let this shield be a promise that we choose to protect, not to destroy. May the Watchers see our strength, but also our heart. The people nodded. Their choice had taken shape in light and shield, and hope stirred stronger than before. Yet as the day stretched, the vessel moved. Slowly, silently, it drifted from the mountain and lowered toward the forest. Its vast shadow spread across the trees, its dark surface glowing with strange symbols. The ground trembled faintly, and fear rushed through the clearing like a cold wind. Children clung to their parents. Hunters tightened their grip on spears. Elders bowed their heads, whispering for courage. The vessel stopped above the ridge, its presence heavy and commanding. A beam of pale light touched the earth, and from it shapes began to appear. They were tall, slender, their forms strange yet graceful, with eyes that glowed faintly in the shield of light. They stood in silence, watching the tribe. No words were spoken, yet the meaning was clear. The Watchers had come. Ren stepped forward, his heart steady though his hands trembled. We are a people of peace, he said. We ask only to live under the sky, to care for our home. We do not seek to harm. The Watchers remained silent, their glowing eyes scanning the tribe, then turning toward the shield above them. The faint shimmer seemed to hum, as if answering their gaze. Kal stepped forward beside Ren. We are not weak, he said firmly. We will protect our home if we must. These machines are our legacy, and we will not surrender them. You may watch, but you will not take. The tribe stood behind them, their unity shining brighter than fear. No one ran, no one hid. Children stood beside their parents, elders held hands with the young, and hunters raised their heads high. For the first time, the tribe was whole. The Watchers tilted their heads, their glowing eyes lingering on the shield, on the machines, and then on the people themselves. Time stretched in silence, the air heavy with unspoken choice. Then, as if by unseen command, the Watchers stepped back into the beam of light. Their forms shimmered and faded. Slowly, the vessel lifted, its shadow pulling away from the forest. It rose higher and higher, until at last it drifted beyond the mountains and vanished into the endless sky. Silence fell across the clearing. The people stood in awe, hearts pounding. They had expected struggle, yet the Watchers had left. Whether it was fear of the machines or respect for the tribe's unity, no one could say. But the danger had passed. Mara felt tears in her eyes. She looked around at her people, their faces lit by the morning sun. They were safe, not because of one leader or one machine, but because they had chosen together. They had stood as one, and the watchers had seen it. Ren lowered his head, his voice soft but full of pride. You have shown me that even my fear could not break you. You are stronger than I believed. Stronger than I dared hope. Kal smiled faintly. And you have shown me that strength is not only in machines or shields. It is in the heart that chooses wisely. Together, you carry both. The tribe cheered, their voices rising high into the sky. Children laughed again, running through the clearing. Hunters lowered their spears. Elders wept softly with relief. The shadow had passed, and in its place came light. That evening, the tribe gathered by the fire. The shield still shimmered above, faint but steady, a reminder of their choice. Ren and Kal sat side by side, no longer as leader and stranger, but as voices of the same people. Mara stood before the tribe and spoke. We have seen the shadows. We have felt the fear. But today, we chose a new path. Not only peace, not only strength, but both together. The Watchers may return, or they may never come again. But we will not wait in fear. We will live with courage, with wisdom, and with hope. Her words carried into the night, met with nods and smiles. The people knew their journey was not ended, but a new dawn had begun. Above them, the stars shone bright. No vessel darkened them now. The tribe of Darren had faced the Watchers and had not broken. Their unity was their true shield, and their courage was their true light. The dawn beyond shadows had come, and with it, a future they would write together.